Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Doreen, the Tennessee Ball Mom. I'm glad everybody is here today. As I mentioned yesterday in Brenda's interview, I was going to be bringing in Raynard from the Packard Institute. This is my third interview in my series of talking to people in the mental health and recovery communities. And I have known Raynard probably since 2011, 2012, when I moved to Akron from Toledo. And I was excited to bring Raynard on because he has a unique program that's very different than any other recovery program I've ever known of. And I'm not going to talk too much about what he does. I'm going to let him do that. And so Raynard, I'm going to let you take it away. And thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today and talk with everybody that's watching.
By all means, no, happy to do it, Doreen. And it's nice to see you. And I trust you're well.
I'm doing very well.
You and your sister were having a bonfire out in Stowe at the ranch there, and I don't know if you hiked out to see the magic unicorns with us, but
yes, I did.
Oh, you did?
No, my sister did. My sister did. I didn't.
Okay, great. Anyways, as Doreen mentioned, we have sort of an Akron-based agency, recovery support and counseling agency, centered in Akron, although we cover the waterfront in kind of a literal way. Just a little bit about myself. I am a person in long-term recovery, and I've been working in this community. I've been kind of centered in this community and working professionally for 30 years now. In a variety of capacities. A lot of my work has been with younger populations. For 12 years, I was with the Akron Health Department, and ran their counseling services for adolescent populations. And there was a point at which the administrative overhead and inertia I found just a little bit too soul numbing for my spirit. And I certainly thought things could be done, from a therapeutic perspective, more efficiently and in a more leaner sort of context. So in 2007, as part of a very broader groundswell, a paradigm shift in the field of addiction treatment and recovery. It's what what I call the recovery revolution. This is a shift in thinking and in ways to engage and provide healing services, a broad pantheon of healing services based largely around a peer-to-peer model. And we were fielding recovery coaches throughout the 2000s, the aughts, or however you call them, kind of ahead of the curve for Ohio. We were not early adopters here in Ohio of either recovery support services or more specifically of recovery coaches. But I knew, and I'd used them in a more or less unofficial capacity for the preceding 15 years. So I knew how efficacious, how strong it was the tip of the spear of this healing network of care. So we launched into 2000, and while we do provide some more traditional counseling interventions, we always imbue our approach with recovery support services and when indicated, recovery coaching. And indeed, they are the tip of the spear in terms of being an agent of change. That peer-to-peer model has no equal in terms of, again, just being a simple agent of change. So a lot of it was around, building tribe in these recovery circles, building that connection such that, I no longer even, at least in addiction treatment, I no longer regard the opposite of addiction as sobriety, but rather I see the opposite of addiction as connection. And, certainly, that's what Carl Jung's conversation with Bill Wilson was about, is that, we're looking to feel this sense of connection with each other, of course, and with the other, whatever the other is. And, I found that, set and setting is pretty important in terms of, where we find this tribal sense. A lot of our services have been, I guess the one characterization is being very outward bound. I would just say nature based. If it's simply a hike to go see the magic unicorns, or hiking the Appalachian Trail, we certainly put people out there and connect with the very spirit of the earth beneath us. And that's we found it to be very effective. We, for one reason or another, kayaking has become part of our larger brand, and we've probably kayaked 20 plus rivers, some multiple times. We kayaked the Cuyahoga, our crooked river, all season long here, and it's a tremendous resource. And rivers, for me, just seem to be the perfect metaphor for the recovery experience. They can twist and turn, and they can be unpredictable, and sometimes they have rapids in them, and quite frankly, sometimes you just get dunked by the whole experience.
I've seen pictures on your website, or pictures you post on Facebook of some of your outings, and that just, oh my gosh, I could not imagine me trying to do any of that. It just looks amazing.
I just think it's the perfect, the connection with water, the connection with this extraordinary artery of life. And trust me, it does not take great physical prowess. It takes a little bit of balance and just a little bit of spirit, and you can make it happen. Kayaking is probably the fastest growing outdoor sport, at least that's what I've been reading. And I can see why. I mean, it just gets you connected on so many levels with spirit and with the flow of the journey. And we have animals join us. We have animals at every kind of level of our care here, including at our residences, recovery residences, in our counseling offices, and on kayaks. We usually have, my faithful mascot, Pi, P-I. Hey, Pi, joining us on these river journeys, so much so that we no longer even call it kayaking. We call it Payaking, right? Okay. All right. So around 2011, we started building out kind of a bridge between the Cuyahoga Valley and the Gulf Coast, the nature coast of Florida. And we've been sort of connecting the tribes and bringing people up from Florida and training them here at our academies, and any number of services. We've been sort of have this sort of bi-coastal relationship, and then sending folks down. And in fact, Brenda Ryan from Keys to Serenity had just joined us down there with her grandson Wyatt. And Wyatt is a riot, believe me. He was
he is. He really is.
So smart and so interesting and interested in everything around him. And believe me, in that environment, at our Florida location, there's just so much life. There's such an abundance of living, breathing systems that it's hard not to be kind of taken in by it all. And plus, there's just some amazing year-round kayaks. And I mean, I suppose you could kayak here year-round, but I just don't have to get out there in the winter.
No, and if it's frozen too. And I just want to let people know, not everybody knows that here we actually have a national park, the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, and that's kind of incredible to have a national park. And that's just an incredible resource that we have around here.
You know, I hear it's one of the most heavily utilized national parks in our system. So I'm glad to hear that. I'll be out there later today. Actually, no, there's a new trail we've discovered called the Freedom Trail that actually runs from downtown Akron all the way to Kent and beyond. So we've been paddling or biking the heck out of that trail. And we have a lot of events coming up this season to spite COVID. And a lot of the research, you know, that I'm seeing is suggesting that our best defense against not only COVID, but any viral infection is, of course, wellness, a sort of broad overarching plan of wellness and fitness. So to that end, we have a full moon midnight paddle coming up, and I've never done that. So that should be a paddle and float. I just ordered a couple dozen of those heavy duty industrial inner tubes. So we're going to float down the Cuyahoga under a full moon, under the full moon. So we'll see how that goes. Pi might not join us for that because it's off into the darkness. You'd never find him. Also, we have a number of like unofficial kind of band, since all the races, the 5Ks and, you know, Akron Marathon and all these like epic, wonderful races for the second year are being shot down and canceled. We're doing a number of off-grid bandit type events. I mean, no insurance, and I mean, obviously we're going to keep safety at the very foremost in our structure, but yeah, we're just going to do bandit events, you know, small distanced fitness events, just to keep the you know, the metabolic rate going.
Right.
So, and I think that can go a long way, again, not only towards a protective factor against COVID, but for personal health. So yeah, among the things we're doing, even in spite of COVID, of course, is the academies. We've got an academy scheduled for July in Florida, and we will continue with the Akron Academies, of course. We have
I do have a question. Now, if there's anybody that's watching this that's in Florida, if they're interested in learning about recovery coaching, and if they're up here, are they able to contact you through your website and get information about it and talk to you and see if they might be eligible to participate?
Absolutely. And I would direct people to the Packard Institute.
Okay.
.com. Institute.com. Correct.
Okay.
And there's drop-down menus to apply, surf around, you know, get a good, you know, sort of sense of you know, what we're doing. We work within the CCAR, the Connecticut model, which I still feel is the gold standard of recovery coaching and training models. And it is the most widely accepted and reciprocated training model available that I'm aware of. So yeah, we continue with the academy. We continue with some traditional counseling. We do a lot of these experiential type counseling interventions, you know, on the river and on the trail and on the bike, and yeah, just reconnecting people with themselves first, and the great spirit, and with each other. So that's what we're up to. How about you? What's how about Doreen? I understand you're in graduate school again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because as I've mentioned on my channel, I graduated in '98 with my master's, and my life went in a different direction. I always told people went in a different direction, but at that time I was not really well enough to sit for my license. I just wasn't in a good place to do that. And plus the stigma then was just so much. I had a lot of people saying, you just aren't going to be able to do this. And as time went on, when I wanted to do it, it was like too late. I mean, it was too far down the road. I was going to have to they told me too many classes, on and on and on. And this past year, I decided I wanted to do it. And I called the Counselor and Social Worker Board. And yes, basically it comes down to when I looked at transcripts between Heidelberg, where I went, and Kent State, yes, I do have to go and repeat most of my graduate classes, because like now, Kent State has, well, what the Counselor and Social Worker Board has, they have a lot of addiction coursework that when I went to school in 98, they didn't have. So the state requires a lot of that. So yes, I'm back in school, getting a second master's degree, but only it's a master's in education, not a master's of art. So I'm working to get my master's degree, another one. I will be finished probably in about a year and a half. And then I will be able to sit for my LPC, but I'm probably going to go on for my PhD then. So I'm going to be 58 in July. I'm probably going to be in my 60s before I'm done with school. But I also started this YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago because, you know, I never shared it on my channel yet, but I started listening to YouTube music. That's how I got into YouTube, because when Jared and I we only had one car, and when he was using it for working on the campaigns, I took a lot of public transportation and stuff to get to my doctor appointments, and I wanted to watch video because I get there early. And so I'd listen to the music and watch the videos, and I watched some TV shows, and it would pop up, you know, different YouTube channels that, like, you know, reviewed them or whatever. So I started watching them, and that's how I kind of got into the commentary channels. And I don't review too much of the reality TV stuff. But then Jared offhandedly made a joke about, you should start your own channel. And one of the channels that I watch, that I connected with that content creator, said, because he knows what I'm doing, he knows about my experience with mental health as a personal experience and what I'm doing. And because I've been involved with the mental health community for over 20 years, with Depression Bipolar Support Alliance, and, you know, just the Final Farewell Project and grief support groups that I'm running, said this would be a great content to do stuff on, and it's been doing well. So that's why I started the channel.
Great.
It's nothing I ever thought I would do. It's
send you some love.
It's not. I'm sorry, what?
Definitely wanted to send you some love for the Final Farewell Project, which I think, and I know I've told you this before, is just such a critical need in our community. You know, it's kind of hurtful to see the GoFundMe's go up every time someone, you know, passes, and maybe it's the new normal. I don't know. Maybe just that's where we're at in our culture, where we are unable to bury our dead appropriately. And I know you reached out when my father passed last year, and I'm grateful for that. You know, I was in a position to handle things, but it's just one of those things you can just never really be prepared for on certain levels anyways. But yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, and, you know, I want to let people watching know that I'm going to do a video on the Final Farewell Project, because I think we are the only, I get calls from all around the country, and I think we are the only organization in the country that does what we do. But I'm going to save that for another video. But, you know, I don't want to go into too much of that. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing this stuff. A lot of YouTube channels and their content creators keep their personal information, their name, where they live, all that stuff, you know, anonymous. I don't, because it wouldn't. I go by Tennessee Ball Mom. That's my channel name. But anybody could find out anything about me. I've been public enough about stuff, and they call that doxing. You know, when somebody, you know, tells people, you know, gives out people's names. Anybody that doesn't like my channel, doesn't like what I talk about, has an issue, and they want to, there's absolutely nothing that anybody can find out about me that hasn't already been shared. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be doing this channel. I'm happy to be talking to people in the recovery community, sharing stories like Brenda. Cameron's going to do a more in-depth interview about her story. Going to talk to Tug on Thursday. And I told Brenda if she has more family, she knows. If there's anybody in your program, I want to let people know you guys are called the Misfits. Is that still correct?
You better believe it.
If there's anybody any misfits that you'd like to have interviewed and share their story as much as they feel comfortable sharing. They don't have to give their names. They can be called whatever they want. I'd be happy to, because there are a number of content creators, channels that are sharing their stories, some of their stories of recovery and mental health issues. And it is an important thing. I think people need to know the truth and misinformation that is out there, that other channels may be sharing that is not correct. So with that, I want to wrap this up because some of my videos have been going really, really long, and I'm trying to keep this short. I have one question for you before I go. Can I come down to Florida and see your stuff down there in Florida?
Yeah, we have different themed retreats year round. So stay connected. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I'd love to come down when you have something going on, and then I can even show the people on my YouTube channel, and I can do a vlog and come down and show them what you're doing down there. And once again, I want to thank you. I am probably going to come by, and if you don't mind, film because I'm gonna for the thing that people see when they look at the YouTube, before they see the video, there's what they call a thumbnail. I'm going to come by and film, the thing that you have out in front of the Packard Institute, the house where your office is, and Brenda's office is it still there as well?
Yes, Keith still has an office here.
Yeah,
Plus,
and in front there's the thing that says "We Recover." That's still there. Is that correct?
Akron Recovers, yes.
Yes, Akron Recovers. Is that okay for me to come and take a picture of that to use on my thumbnail?
Of course.
All right. Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much, Raynard. And I do want to let people know, because I've had a few people ask, is this a podcast? This is not a podcast. This is a YouTube channel. And I'm just kind of doing interviews. This isn't necessarily my commentary. I do commentary when I review different things, or I respond to different videos I've seen, but this is my YouTube interview. So thank you again, Raynard. And thank you everybody for watching. And Raynard, do you have anything to say before we go?
God bless everyone. Be well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Raynard. You have a good day.
You too, Doreen.
Bye.